Something I notice is what activists love to do is find a medium or cultural hobby that has popularity, find a disparity within it that they can pretend to be offended by, disguise themselves as fans, then infiltrate that medium seeking to destroy it from inside out.
I say it all the time, but it's a very special and cool thing that comics made for girls is a thing in Japan. Not many places have that, and the fact that it's still so ostracized means that we still have a long way to go to change our mindsets. As a shoujo editor from Mystery Bonita put it, erasing the labels will only homogenize the categories and leave whatever sells the best left. You know what that would mean? Shonen. So before you can say that we should erase the labels, you also need to put in the work to make them equal. Read things that look feminine. Read things that have female characters or perspectives. Read shoujo.
And it's funny how the stereotype fulfills itself just with this one example, and you see this extend to many aspects of life.
But I actually want to talk about something so much more important than Red Dead Online: sexism in gaming.
Where if a certain part of that hobby receives more attention than another, they immediately turn it into a social cause to bring equity about. They can't just enjoy what they enjoy and just let others do the same, refusing to see it as a natural occurrence of people's interests playing out. Instead, they assume and convince themselves there's behind the scenes nefarious intentions being enacted, negatively bringing this result about. And that's how we land here. Where in this article, they discuss how the women of Jujutsu Kaisen lack the amount of screen time or attention, remember, as the male characters. You know, something not to be expected from a shonen. But they say, Jujutsu Kaisen is undeniably one of the most successful Shonen Jump series. However, the series primarily focuses on male-driven action, God forbid, making it susceptible to one of the most common criticisms of shonen, the lack of significant representation of female strength. Just a heads up or some advice, if you ever own or start a company and you hear someone begin to talk like this, these are signs you have an activist infiltration problem. Just like if you see a bug here and there, you might have a roach infestation problem, and you should tend to it early before it gets out of hand. Just like Shift Up, the studio responsible for the game Stellar Blade, fired 2 women for being toxic feminists who complained about fan service to shareholders. Typical activist behavior. And maybe that's why the East is being in the West nowadays when it comes to entertainment, but I digress. That said, Jujutsu Kaisen boasts an exceptional lineup of female characters, with Maki and Yuki standing out as some of the strongest characters within JJK and arguably across the entire anime and manga industry. However, this alone isn't enough. Another quick side note, when it comes to activists, it's never enough. Trying to appease them is like trying to fill a bottomless pit. It can never be done. This alone isn't enough to overlook the absence of a well-developed female lead. Nobara's portrayal has been a major point of contention. With who?
When?
I swear, these people create problems and false realities in their head to complain about. Highlighting the series' struggle in this area, while Jujutsu Kaisen has faced criticism on multiple fronts for its female cast.
Like when?
You know what's funny? I did a live stream the other day where I discussed watching Sailor Moon when I was younger, and it never crossed my mind that I was watching a girl's anime. I just thought I was watching a good anime with some cool characters and funny ass humor, something I appreciate even more when I recently rewatched it a few years ago. And not once did I think, man, it's wrong that Tuxedo Mask doesn't get as much screen time as Sailor Moon and the rest of the cast. Even though her name's in the title and she's the main character, that doesn't matter. This lacks gender equality and fair representation, and now I'm outraged. No, because I'm a sane human being and not a lunatic activist that doesn't politicize everything in every aspect of life. Now, here's something they actually praise it for. Jujutsu Kaisen rarely frames its female characters as tools for seduction. Of course, they would love that. Anime has long been criticized, by activist-minded people I'll say, for its portrayal of female characters in the shonen genre. Among the most obvious critiques is how they are often crafted as tools for seduction. Oda's One Piece is one of the most frequently cited examples, as Oda consistently designs female characters with exaggerated proportions. And shout out to him for that. Much respect. Hats off to you, Oda. To the point where fans can hardly imagine new female characters being depicted otherwise. Similarly, Bleach and Naruto are no strangers to this criticism, often using such caricatures as recurring gags throughout their narratives, and shout out to them for that as well. And when it comes to activists, fan service or beautiful women in general is like kryptonite or the antichrist to these folks. They see it as something that needs to be exorcised from entertainment.
I have exorcised the demons.
What they done to women in Western gaming, they would gladly love to do to women in anime. Give them the typical haircut shaved on both sides with a mohawk, or something that looks like a wave on top of their head, strong jawline, basically masculine features through in and out. A beautiful woman with a feminine physique they just cannot stand. However, Jujutsu Kaisen has rarely portrayed its female characters seductively, with the exception of one controversial and arguably unnecessary scene involving Mei Mei during the Shibuya arc. Unnecessary to who? Man, that catwalk had me hooked in an instant. She's definitely making the waifu tier list, shifting them hips like a straight up lioness. Shout out to the animators emphasizing those movements. But beyond being sexy, that was just a funny ass scene, with the classic ballroom music playing.
And that's when I came into full bloom as a grade 1 sorcerer.
Her citing a soliloquy, it seems, sounded like a poet. While walking down her prey with that dude she's always with playing as her own personal audience. I don't know, man, that whole scene just has so much personality, and her design is so cool looking with her hairstyle, her personality, everything. It just fits well. But of course, to them, again, that's like the Antichrist.
Fuck this.
Maki's character development reflects the harsh reality of the Jujutsu world, showcasing how those who do not fit traditional molds face immense struggles. Therefore, her achievements feel genuinely inspiring, reinforcing the core shonen themes of resilience and determination, qualities that are often reserved for male leads in most other series. It's shonen. Why is that such a surprise to them? It's shonen. Basically, what this comes down to is they just want women to be like men, to look like them and act like them. And you know what's funny? When I'm watching Jujutsu Kaisen and I see Maki on screen, I don't think what a strong female lead. I just see a cool character with her own personality from the rest. I see a whole series full of great characters. Like when Maki and Nanami and that other dude who can like stop time with his ability, that was a cool ass fight where they really showcased the struggle of beating that other lobster dude. Seeing them all work together and showing persistence despite being outclassed. I just saw cool characters, just like how I mentioned with Sailor Moon earlier, but that's something that these activists are just incapable of doing. Another criticism of JJK regarding its female characters is the lack of compelling character arcs. Aside from Maki, this is especially disappointing given the series' diverse female cast and their immense potential. Nobara, for instance, could have greatly benefited from clearer character development, perhaps by avoiding the ambiguity surrounding her death and allowing her to solidify her role as a key player in defeating Sukuna through training or other means. Likewise, Kasumi Miwa is another female character brimming from untapped potential. Jujutsu Kaisen could have elevated its female cast to an entirely new level, directly challenging the shonen genre's long-standing criticism of underdeveloped female leads. This is another problem with activists. They have an everything needs to be equitable problem, equal representation. But if every character had the same amount of screen time or character arcs we need to invest in, we would never get through any plot or progress in the story. That's why you have main characters and a supporting cast. It's necessary for the story. And that's something an activist-minded person just doesn't understand. If things were done their way, every girl character would be like Maki, leading to bland and predictable ass characters. If it was up to them, shonen wouldn't even exist as a genre because it's male dominated, and to them that's problematic. These aren't fans of this or any other medium, but are activists who are fans with what they can do with them. Activists don't have a creative bone in their body. That's why they take what someone else has already created, mishandle it, destroy it, then wonder why no one buys their garbage. They don't operate with logic, just political correctness. But that's all I have for this video. Tell me what you think in the comment section below. Understand, these journalists are the type of people that are granted access to rooms and conventions to interview these creators, asking the kind of questions like, why don't the women get more attention in these stories? How do you feel about the disparity of representation when it comes to these characters versus those characters? Political questions that are agenda-based, not fan-based. That kind of guilt trips these creators in a way to change up their approach slowly but surely. Something that has happened to a huge degree in the West already. So hopefully videos like these can make it out into the ether to dispel and counter these weirdos seeking to destroy basically fun. But again, tell me what you think in the comment section below. I'd be interested in hearing your opinion on this topic. And if you haven't already, check out my music on Spotify or YouTube, links in the description. If you love those Samurai Champloo lo-fi mellow boom bap vibes, then my music is definitely for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. free think. Peace.